Wait, what was I saying? Just kidding.
I don't know.
We're here with Steve Hirdt. Steve Hirdt, the president of the Elias Sports Bureau. They provide all the stats, all the major sports networks, and nobody would even have a stat if it wasn't for Steve. Steve is also the grand poobah holder of Seinfeld trivia. He knows a lot.
Not as much
as I know. He is also one of my best friends.
Right.
He's also he owns that coveted spot of if I was to be stranded on an island, who would I bring? It is still to this day Steve Hirdt.
So I'm still number one on that list.
On that list. You have fallen to number 2 on the most popular, based on viewership, the most popular segments we've ever had.
On the Jenna Wolf Show.
Yes, on the Jenna Wolf Show. And only the Jenna Wolf Show.
So I'm now in second place.
You're in second place to a
Because
very
I thought I held first place.
long time.
You held first place, but the first place holder is beating you 121,000 to 30,000. So
But you did
4 to 1?
yeah, so I mean, but it was
It's like Trumpian numbers.
right.
It was good. That was really good. Yeah.
4 to 1. And it was a meteorologist, right?
Yeah.
From the Weather Channel.
Yes, but the number 3rd spot is like 3,000.
All right, so I got a substantial lead over number 3, but I mean,
Does that
how
make
did
you
she
feel better?
get so many? How did she get so many?
Everybody was. Jenna was interviewing me.
Was there a big storm that day at least,
Yeah.
or something?
No.
I mean, something that
It was
people
like
would be interested
58
in the
and
weather?
partially sunny.
I mean, when I was on, it was during the baseball playoffs, so that would be an analogous situation. Why do you have a hat on indoors?
We were outdoors.
We said, how long would it take you sitting down to mention why I have a hat on indoors?
So who won the over-under?
I said it would be the first thing you said. These guys said you would sit down and speak for a little bit before.
I didn't think you would notice.
It was the first
And
thing
he
I.
didn't
It
think
was
you
actually
would.
the first thing I thought.
How well do I know?
But you
What
went.
did I tell
You
you?
went into the thing about the meteorologist.
I did a whole thing about, I said, Steve Hirt's going to be our second guest. He's going to walk in and in his Steve Hirdt voice, he's going to say, why are you wearing a hat indoors? That's exactly
You
what
didn't
he
mimic
did.
the voice.
Did the voice.
Wow.
I did the voice.
So how you been?
I'm good. A lot to talk to you about. Number one, I did stay up for the Giants game last night. Were you at that game?
I was. I worked on it. The Giants won by 1 point.
I was shocked. When I went to bed, they were losing. They did not look like they were going to win.
21 to 20. Giants are 6-3.
Are you surprised by that?
I am, because last year they lost all the close games. They lost so many games in the fourth quarter last year. Changed the coach in the offseason, brought in Ben McAdoo, or actually elevated Ben McAdoo, who'd been on Coughlin's staff. And this year they've won all the close games. I mean, they so picture this, they have 6 wins. They're 6-3. Think of 6 wins. Think of what's the average winning margin in a football
when it
game.
goes like
No,
this.
just think of this.
All right, what is the question?
Work with it.
4?
Okay, 4 points.
No, wait, no, I'm sorry. I was just joking.
All right.
What was the question?
What's a typical score a team would win a football game?
3, 7.
By much, yeah, right. So they've won 6 games by a total of 21 points.
Oh,
They
wow.
keep winning all these games by
Yeah.
very skim margins.
And last year they lost
Only
all.
one other team in history ever won the first 6 games of the season, right? So it's on a small margin. So, but they're doing it. They count as wins. And now the next 2 games are against 2 of the worst teams in the league, if you go by that record. The Chicago.
Not their personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
I mean, they could have potential to win. Anybody can win.
2 of the
Hope
most.
springs eternal within the human breast. Come on. So the Chicago Bears and the Cleveland Browns are next up for the Giants.
That's
It's
great.
not. It's
It
not.
looks like 2 wins
It's
in the
not
top.
out of range that they could be 8-3 and on the way to the playoffs. Now Dallas is 8-1 in the division right now. So the Giants, I can't say they're in a good spot to win the division.
I watched that Cowboys-Steelers game. It was actually a really good game.
Yeah. Back and
Question
forth.
for you.
Yeah.
So now you come and you tell me that the Giants have won 6 games by 21 points. Only
Right.
one other team has even broken that margin, right?
Right.
As a statistician, how do you know? Like, how did you know that was a statistic to want to look up? Like, does it come? I don't
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
how you would ever think of that. Like, I would never think of looking that stat up.
My brain's gotten warped over the years. So
So
when
when you
I
look
watch
at
a
things, you
game,
think that way.
I think of things like that. Somebody else will say, "What a great catch Beckham
Yeah.
made," and I'll say, "Oh, this will put them in a position to win by 1 point," which is what they've been doing all year. So
Another question for you.
Yeah.
The Jets lost to whatever terrible team.
the LA Rams.
The Rams. It was like 9-6 or something.
Right.
It was the lowest score in Rams franchise history. And I said to myself, like, I mean, they made it big. It was almost like
Well,
breaking news.
it was one of the lowest. Right.
No, that's what it said. It said lowest score ever in Rams history.
Okay, because I think they won a game this year 9-3.
I'm sorry, not lowest. Lowest margin or lowest? Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not the stat. The stat was it was the only 9-6 game in their franchise history.
Oh,
that's what it was.
yeah,
I thought to myself, who
because
cares?
all the scores of the game on the internet now, that is now the lowest hanging fruit. For,
the only time that was a score.
Yeah, I hate to be critical of somebody else, but somebody thought they had a good note. It doesn't
But not only that,
it's
Steve,
an unusual score.
do you know how, like, sometimes I'll put the news on and it'll say, like, breaking news, red with thunder, and like, and all of a sudden I'll be like, they're still looking for this guy in the Bronx. They can't find that guy in the Mont Haven section of the Bronx.
Breaking news. Malaysian plane still lost.
Yeah, breaking news. Like, Mike Tyson is still not boxing competitively. And this is what that was. It was like,
Yeah,
9-6.
but the Rams did win the game without without scoring a touchdown because they had 3 field goals. And there's only been 2 games in the NFL this year where a team won without scoring a touchdown, and the Rams have won both. So they practice this.
This is their thing.
This is their thing.
This is
We
what they
can
want
win
to be
again.
known
May not
for.
get a touchdown, we can still win.
Yeah.
We've done it twice. And the Jets, of course, played a first-time quarterback.
Well, they're all confused. If you're going to play a first-time quarterback,
Right.
either be so good that Ryan Fitzpatrick is not coming back in, or be so bad that Ryan Fitzpatrick is now going to get the ball the rest of the season. They're going to figure it out at the end of the season. That's my take.
I guess this guy was neither.
He was neither. Now what do they do? What
They're
do
only
they
one.
do?
Their Jets only touchdown. I mean, this was a weird play. I don't know how much you watched the game. But the Jets had the ball close to the Rams goal line. Teddy threw a pass to Brendan Marshall, caught it stepping back from line of scrimmage, just turned around and caught it. And then he flipped the ball to a guy who was running around his end. Trickery.
Oh.
Trickeration.
And tomfoolery?
that guy ran into tomfoolery.
But it was a design play.
And Bilal Powell ran into, design play, he ran into the end zone for a touchdown. Now that counts in the statistical world as a touchdown pass for Petty. His first.
Get out of here.
His first, even though the guy who scored the touchdown didn't catch the ball directly from
Petty.
him. It was also the 2000 touchdown Jets.
Of course it was. And who else would know that?
And they didn't score again. I said 2000. That's enough.
We're done with that.
Okay.
I can't with the Jets.
They were mesmerized by the Rams winning a game without scoring a touchdown. Maybe
It's
we could try
so
that.
boring. The first 3 minutes of the Patriots-Seahawks game was
Right.
more exciting than the full 3 hours.
Patriots
of the
Seahawks
Jets
was a great game.
That was a great game.
Did you stay with it to the end?
Steph stayed with it to the end. I went to bed.
I didn't know it was a great game. Didn't know about the ending.
I'll tell you why. Steph has never said that was a
She's,
great game if
she's
the Patriots
fan,
lost.
right? Yeah.
I go, oh, they won. She goes, no, they lost. I go, then what do you mean? She goes, it was that good of a game
It was.
that I accepted
Nice
them
call by her.
losing. And
It
that's
was
how they
almost
won.
the opposite of the Super Bowl 2 years ago, where the same 2 teams played, and Seattle had the ball down by the Patriots' goal line, needing a touchdown to win the game right at the end of the game, and instead of giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch, their big running back at the time, they tried
Right,
to
gentle
pass.
fellow.
Right, yeah, exactly. Russell Wilson threw a pass that was intercepted, and
That was
the
it.
game ended. Now, in this case, Brady had the ball by the Seattle goal line, needing a touchdown to win. On first down, he kept it himself and gained a yard. Second down, they gave it to Blunt to try to jump over. Didn't do
I
it.
remember
Third down,
this.
Brady fumbles a snap. And fourth down, he throws it in the end zone to Gronk, gets broken up.
I
And that's
don't
it.
remember all this.
It was Sunday. It was Sunday night.
I don't remember what I did at 1 o'clock today, which was an hour ago. I have a question for you. We had a big, I'll call it a fight on the air.
All right.
Because we had a guest on who's got a show on HGTV, and he came out and said, hands down, Tom Brady, he's going to be the greatest, go down as the greatest quarterback in the history of the
He said
NFL.
football player.
He said football player or quarterback? Okay,
Greatest football player ever.
Hold on. Then we had a discussion and we said, okay, maybe not so. But Lance said, forget that. John Elway was better than Tom Brady, so how could you say? So we said, wait, Elway, Brady? And we had a whole big discussion, and it was almost 50-50. Better quarterback. I 100% think Tom Brady. Lance is fully in the John Elway department.
John Elway always had, well, from the time he got out of college, people talked about his ball skills. He could throw the ball, he could run, he was strong, every attribute you want in a quarterback. And he did get Denver to several Super Bowls, but they lost him. And so his performance didn't match what people saw in his ability, his skill ability. Of course, at the end of the year, at the end of his career, rather, the last 2 years, he won Super Bowls. At that point, he probably wasn't the quarterback that he was earlier, but he was surrounded by a good running game and defense. But it'd be hard for me at this point to pick Elway over Brady. I mean, yes, Brady's had the benefit of Belichick coaching him and great consistency all the years. Those two guys have been forever since day one. Here's a stat for it, so to speak.
Is that in air quotes?
Yes, that was verbal air quotes.
Yep. You see how I picked up? We're like right here.
I don't do this one.
Because you want
I do it just
stats.
Yeah,
I got it.
I don't like to use that word.
Yeah.
So the Patriots.
Are you listening, Lance?
The Patriots were ahead
listening.
on
Okay.
Sunday night. The Patriots were ahead early in the fourth quarter, and then Seattle came back and took the lead and won the game. The Patriots couldn't catch them. So since Brady became the starting quarterback, which was in 2001,
Place Bledsoe.
replaced Bledsoe. Coming into that game, the Patriots' one-loss record when they had a fourth quarter lead on their field at home had been 102 wins and 1 loss. This was only the second time they'd ever lost a game. Well, your face, I hope you're on Jenna's face.
Wow.
Our jaw dropped.
I know, it really did.
It's a jaw-dropping
102?
stat.
That's good.
It's a jaw-dropping.
102
102 wins, 1 loss when they had a fourth quarter lead at home since Brady became the starting quarterback.
That's
and
amazing.
They just don't lose, and they lost this one. Even though they had the ball right at the goal line at the end of the game, they couldn't punch it. So that's the type, winning is important in professional sports. This just is great.
Yeah, right.
And Brady is the greatest winner of all time. If you go by, the percentage of games that you've won. Soon he'll have the record for most wins by a quarterback. And, he says he wants to play until he's 45 or something.
Here's my next question with regards to that.
Yeah.
Knowing that our bodies, because of life, human nature, all of it, we're going to slow down. That's just what we do as we get older. What is Belichick's role with that? Does he let Brady play until Brady doesn't think he can play anymore, or does he?
You don't rest in pro football for the most part. You don't rest guys.
No, I mean, years to come, do you do the benefit of the team and you say, I'm sorry, Brady, I know we had a great relationship, but I got to think forward? Or do you pull, like what they did with the Colts, and they said, look, I know you probably have a couple more years manning if you get healthy, but we're going with the future, even though you've been like a franchise guy for us?
Nice question. The Colts had a unique situation because not only was Manning getting older, remember, he missed 1 year entirely. And in that year, they were so bad that they wound up with the first draft pick.
And they got
Andrew Luck was coming out of college.
Right.
So that's almost like a perfect storm. Our quarterback's getting older, but through this miracle, we got handed the first draft pick. And there's a guy who can play quarterback for us for 15 years out. The chance of that, I don't see the Patriots getting a first draft pick anytime soon.
So give me another example in the NFL where something like that happened, where they traded away or they sent away. Did it happen with the Packers?
A long-time quarterback? Well, they told Favre there was he said, she said, the Packers want me anymore. So he said,
okay.
The Packers want me anymore. Do I want to move on? And one way or another, he left, and Aaron Rodgers, who had backed them up for 3 or 4 years without ever playing much, took over, and it's been fine. Joe Montana, go back a generation, when he got hurt, Steve Young came in and played a couple of years while Montana was hurt, and then when Montana's ready to go again, 49ers said goodbye to him. He went to Kansas City to play his last couple. So things like that do happen.
But would it happen with Tom Brady?
Would it happen with Tom Brady? Tommy? No, I don't think so.
Plus, Bob Kraft loves him.
I think Brady's built up enough equity that he'll be there as long as he wants to be there. He'd have to start doing some serious losing to get kicked off the island. By that time Belichick may not be there anymore. Who knows?
I can't see a scenario that Belichick is gone unless Belichick wants to be gone.
He might have. He's won 4 Super Bowls. He's tied the record. If he gets 1 more, he'll have done something nobody else does.
No one's ever won 4?
No one's ever won 5. He's got 4. A couple other guys. Well, Chuck Noll.
Oh, okay.
So, if
do you know Bill Belichick?
I've met him. I can't say I know him.
If you see him again,
Yeah.
question?
Should I mention?
No. If you could just ask the question.
Right.
The short sleeve sweatshirt,
Right.
what purpose does it serve? I just feel like he goes the extra mile to cut the sleeves off, so that took effort.
Right.
Like, because what? It was like too hot, like from the elbow down, it was too much, I'm perspiring in my forearms. Like,
Could have been.
he cuts that off, but then he puts something underneath it. Just keep the sweat, just try it.
Well, to keep the sweat off his forearms.
I don't know, is that affecting his finger, the moisture on his fingers? What's going on there?
Could be. You know, they all have that flip card that they hold sometimes. I don't know if he holds it in particular, but a lot of the coaches do.
Does he call plays? He's a defensive guy.
Yeah, he's a defensive guy, so he probably does have it. But
You know what it is? I don't remember anything about sports until I'm talking to you, and then it all comes
It
back
all
to
comes
me.
out.
When did I know that Belichick was a defensive guy? It just came back to me.
how'd you
Your
know
bottom
that
phone
Brady
is crooked.
replaced Bledsoe?
Well, that I remember. You know, because
Really?
I'm obsessed with
Oh,
the
that
player
was in
goes
your, you
out.
were covering sports back then. That was around the time that we
Yeah,
went
the
to
player that's been in there forever, the Cal Ripken leaves,
Right.
and the other guy comes in, and there's that's unspoken rule. You can't lose your job to injury, and yet we all lose our jobs to injury.
Absolutely. As Tony Romo found out this year.
Tony Romo's not coming back to the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, he's going to come back, but he's not going to get a starting job back as long as Prescott's still winning.
I think at this point Prescott is earned. Don't you think he's earned?
Oh, yeah. I think Jerry Jones even sort of talks about this after every week. And originally he said Romo wouldn't want to lose his job due to injury, but now his most recent comment following last week's game was, well, I think Prescott's, got to keep things going here. Yeah, that's the way it is.
Look, you think I can't afford to get sick on the show? I take one day off of this show, then bring someone else in.
What do
I'm
you
never
do?
back.
Yeah, what do you do if you get sick?
I don't know, Lance. What do I
Well,
do?
last week
Would
when
Lance do the
we
show?
actually did a show without you. We went to the One World Trade. We went to the One World
Trade Center, they
Trade
walked around live.
Oh, really? Okay.
show. Yeah. So basically, when Jen is absent, we try to show New York.
Okay.
Like there's, we just went on this walk with the idea, like part of what we're doing here is
They just stopped
we're
using
using
the street.
We actually
I want
just
to
said
do a
hello to
little
people on the street.
affiliate.
see
That's
if
what
they
I was telling you.
Well,
we interviewed
she was
20
on. She was
people.
on electronically.
Yeah. So we were
Oh,
just.
so she was there in a way.
Yeah.
No, today, no. But when we did the One
oh.
World Observatory, it was just the two of
Oh,
us.
just okay.
Yeah, Jenna had a TV shoot.
Yeah, I was telling you a story before. I said hi to 20 people on the way back from the subway station to Fika to meet you here. Of the 20 people, how many think said hi back?
Out of 20.
Yeah, that's the question.
Were you
20
being,
people.
were you being filmed at the time by Lance?
Yes.
Was it obvious that there was something going on?
Not so obvious. No.
Not so obvious.
Because Jenna was basically passing by the people
That is
and
not
saying
true.
hello.
And did you pick them out according to any?
Just people that
Just
came
for
to us.
total random?
I don't see people in terms of picking.
6.
Wait, what was the question? It
The one
was.
you asked me a moment ago.
It was how many people what said hi or
How many
didn't.
people? It was how many people said hi?
This show's going to be
20.
amazing.
Do you know how many people did you count, or did you do?
No,
you do it
you
in
were close.
retrospect?
Eight people.
8 people said hi.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I bet of the 8, I would bet that most of them didn't really mean it. They just meant it as a reflex.
Yes.
Like, do I know her, or
Right,
she
right,
must
right.
know her, or
Yes,
something? I
that's
mean,
exactly
not
what
from
happened.
TV, just
That's
from
exactly what happened.
that you're an acquaintance.
I wanted to get your opinion on something because I am dumbfounded about this.
Okay.
I have to say, nothing dumbfounds me anymore.
Really?
Really, yes.
Including this week.
Including the question I just asked you.
No.
Yes, it's about this week. So now, Trump goes ahead and he wins. Saturday Night Live comes on.
Right.
Saturday Night Live opens up. They could have done anything. Look, after 9/11, what did they do? They went humor. After all the big horrible events in this world, they went humor.
Right.
So now after this election, they come on. They have Kate McKinnon, who has played Hillary Clinton brilliantly
Right.
the last season. She comes on and she sits down, and your mind is programmed to expect something funny. So she starts playing, and it's really sweet, and it's calm, and it's very poignant and sad, and you're still like, it's going to be funny. And it doesn't. She takes you on this amazing ride, and at the end of it, she stops, she looks at the camera, and she's like, "Look, I'm not going to stop fighting. Neither should you. We all go on, so get on board with it. Trump won. That's fine. It's all cool. We're good.
Right.
Let's go." And then Dave Chappelle comes on, and he does some comedy, and they get into it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliantly played, brilliantly executed. It was just a nice way of saying, you know what, let's all come together and move forward, and not poke fun at anything or him for winning or anyone's anything.
Right.
And I was like, great. Now I never do stuff like this, but I commented on Twitter and I said, cool, classy, opened at SNL, love it, whatever.
Right.
I got killed by some people, and there's so much flack they're taking.
Because it's 50-50 in the country.
Yes, but what is the argument against it? There were morning.
Well, here's the
there
thing.
were
I saw it live. At the beginning, I wasn't sure that McKinnon was playing Clinton.
Me too. That's what
I wasn't quite sure of that because I don't know if her hair was not made up the same or she has a certain way of. We never heard her sing as Hillary.
Right,
we only saw her
like,
act as Hillary. You know, and she did a wink at one point, but I was a little bit surprised because the only other case that and there may have been others like you said, but the only other one I remember was after 9/11, their first show, when they had the firefighters up on stage and the police commissioner and the mayor, and Julie, Michael's asked, can we be funny? And Giuliani says, why start now? And it got the show up to a comedy start. To analogize this to 9/11, which to me was the relevant parallel, I'm not quite sure I'm there on that.
Okay.
And I thought it was a nice opening to leave Leonard Cohen's passing in.
Yeah.
And that made sense. You know, I wasn't one of the guys who answered you back on Twitter. But I mean, it was just confusing to me. I said, well, you know, on 9/11 they had a punchline.
Right.
Are we saying we're not even going to have a punchline here? So in other words, this is a more serious situation than 9/11. I was trying to process all that.
That makes sense.
I'm not sure I've thought about it from that moment to now, really. But
That's all I've been thinking. I'm going to talk to people on the street about it. We spoke to 20 people on the way back. I asked all of them what they thought. How many people do you think?
So it was done well. I mean, everything she does well.
Yeah. Well, she says goodbye to the character.
She executes it well. I was unsure what they were driving at, and I just didn't know. Like the opening of it, I was confused. Is she doing this as Hillary Clinton?
Well, she's wearing a white pantsuit.
The
Her hair.
pantsuit was, I don't know, the hair for some reason looked a little different to me.
Oh, this is the first time hearing that you had an issue with her hair then.
No, maybe I'm wrong. I don't notice. I'm not an expert. I noticed you have a hat on.
Yes, you noticed I have a hat on.
Yeah.
All right,
Is it something to do with the hair? Is your hair like a mess?
It's raining, and then it wasn't, and it was, and it wasn't, and then we were talking about my exes on the show this morning, and one ex in particular, and I was like, oh, and I put my hat on, and now I'm not taking it off.
You put your hat on?
You have to like hide myself and shield myself from the barrage of questions.
Excellent.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Did Lance have the questions?
It was me.
Lance had some of the questions.
I was persisting on behalf of the audience.
What?
So I don't know if I didn't get that right.
No, you
I
did.
felt I was a little slow on the uptake.
No, you weren't.
But by the time I realized it was Hillary, it was over.
Yeah.
You know, so I was a little confused during it, and then I thought, oh, and no punchline. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm
John
not.
was actually asking about the Cubs.
Yeah.
Here, a couple of, what was like any of the statistical anomalies with the Cubs?
The biggest one was
That they won?
being down, winning the series when they were down 3-1. The series was really very even. The two teams had about the same number of runs scored and everything. And I mean that last game was. It was a really great game. I know so many people who were not baseball fans who saw that game and watched that game and were sort of drawn in by it. And I think it got an audience of 40 million. I think it was the highest rated baseball game on TV in the last quarter century, 25 years. So people were into it. Hey, they came through, and even in the last inning, they were ahead by 2 runs going to the bottom of the 10th. They'd scored 2 in the top half. And the first 2 guys go out to Cleveland, and then there's a single, and then the guy gets to second base, then there's another single, and the guy scores. And I'm sure Cubs fans across the world were saying, here it comes again.
Yeah.
Because I was at the game about
You were at the
12
game in
years ago.
1911?
No, not at that one, but I was at the Bartman game.
Oh, you were at that game?
And I was in the stands. I wasn't in the press box or working. I was in the stands with a friend of mine. And we were on the other side of the field from Bartman. There weren't very good seats. If the ball had been hit to right field, that might have been Bartman.
Oh my gosh.
But after, now the Cubs are winning that game like by 3 runs or so. It's the 8th inning. They got the best pitcher on the mound. yes, there's this fly ball down the left field line that the left fielder doesn't catch because fans seem to interfere. And the moment it happens, everybody in our section is going, that's it, that's going to be the thing we remember forever, that's it. And I'm saying to my friend, listen to these guys. The Cubs are ahead 3-2 in the series. They're ahead in the game by 3 runs. They only need 5 outs to go. Yeah, like there's going to be a big comeback here.
Right.
Ta-da!
Unbelievable.
8 runs later. The Marlins win that game.
And that guy is in like the funny farm.
And then the next night they still the second pitching in Game 7. They got up to a 3-0 lead in that game. And it's that also. So I was,
You stood corrected.
I stood corrected in a big way.
Wow.
And so what was the best sporting event you ever had that you could enjoy? Now,
So there's a difference. Covering and enjoying are 2 different things.
totally different. Yeah. Well, you may not have. You sort of jumped right into sports.
I never went to a game ever.
That you weren't working at.
Yeah, ever.
That's sad.
I know, it
Sad
was.
thing.
Like I remember watching a game or two, but I've never been to a
But
game.
now, since you're out of sports, basically, I know you've had some assignments where you had to cover Super Bowl.
Right,
But even so, you haven't said, let's go to a Yankee game tonight.
no.
I'll say the Giants-Bills Super Bowl.
The Giants what?
I worked in that game.
Giants-Bills Super Bowl. You worked that game.
I worked in that game for ABC. And when the Giants, when Buffalo was coming
Was that the
downfield
Scott
on the final
Norwood game?
drive, yeah, Scott Norwood game.
Oh my God, you guys! Don't you think it's weird that I'm pulling this information out of nowhere?
Tell everybody who Scott Norwood.
He was the kicker that he could have kicked it, but the laces out. It was like Einhorn Finkel. And Marv Levy stood denying not having a Super Bowl win. Got these boys to the pool 4 times.
That was the first of them. Came back 3 more times, never got that close again.
They were like AFC champs like forever.
But like Jeff Hostetler was the Giants quarterback.
Yes.
Ended up going to the Raiders.
All right, just goes to show you what you don't really need the greatest quarterback to win a Super Bowl if you have Belichick coaching
Yeah,
the defense.
you know how I know that? Peyton Manning and John Elway.
No, but Belichick was coaching the defense for the Giants, just like Belichick coaches the defense for the Patriots.
When I think of the Patriots, I should, but I don't think of them as a defensive team. I think they have. When I thought of the Baltimore Ravens under what's his name, that was a defensive team. I think Carr was the
They beat
quarterback.
the
No,
Giants. That was the
their
biggest
quarterback?
race.
Trent Dilfer was there.
No.
Trent Dilfer was the quarterback.
Not when they went.
Ravens won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm talking. No, it was
Ray Lewis.
No, it started. Yes, but I'm talking about the quarterback. Who was the quarterback?
Are you talking about Flacco when they?
No.
It was before Flacco.
Fossil was the quarterback's coach. Who brought him in? First of all, who,
Also was the Giants quarterback. Was the Giants.
We worked for the Ravens for a while.
he went to the Ravens afterwards. They brought him in to just train this one guy.
Right.
This one
Under
kid.
Brian Phillips.
Under Brian Billick, that's right. That's a defensive.
Was
I mean, that was a
it,
defensive team.
Bowler?
Yes, it was Bowler. It was Bowler. Very good. I usually
But,
get those. That was good.
So the Bills are coming down. They need a field goal to win the game. And I know I've got a graphic that says that Scott Norwood is 1 for 5 all time from over 40 yards on a grass field. And as it turned out, he never had made one as long as it set up. And so we got that on the air right beforehand.
Wow.
That was a big deal for me at the time.
That's awesome.
That's what I've got a lot of, like, you may have this too. Do you have like things from your career like on videotape?
My whole life.
Your whole life?
Literally, my whole life is on tape.
Whole life's on a shelf.
Yep. My whole life's a show. It really is.
So, how many times have you grabbed one down and said, let me look at that?
Very rarely. Very rarely.
The
Nobody
only
wants
thing
that.
I've ever looked at that I worked on
Was that?
was that Super Bowl. One time I was real sick and I said, I gotta watch something. There was nothing on there. I want to watch the Giants Super Bowl.
Oh my
And I
God.
put it on and I watched this. And when you watch a game, when you already know what happens,
It's much less stressful.
but you learn other things too. Like before Buffalo got the ball back for that final drive downfield, the Giants had the ball and they had a 3rd down play and they didn't make the 1st down, so now they're going to have to pump the ball to Buffalo. Sean Mandetta comes on the field. And the clock is still running. And then Buffalo gets it in the head. Oh, let's call timeout. Well, they had wasted like 15 seconds right there.
Yeah.
That if they had on the other end of
They could have actually
possession, they
made
could have gotten a little
better
closer.
field position.
Same thing on their final drive. There was like a a play that was the ball caught near the ground and a minimal gain, but they stopped the game because at the time there was a replay rule, sort of like now that they call down from the thing to stop the game. They look at it, yes, it was a catch, but then Buffalo had to be ready to start playing as soon as the clock got wound again, and they weren't at the line of wish with a couple more seconds.
Yeah.
So I think all these seconds, like these things you never saw the first time when you watched the game. So if I could only watch everything all over again,
Yeah, you're such a nerd.
then you'd learn.
Of course, that's right. What's your favorite game of all time, guys? Best game you ever watched?
The best game I ever went to was that. My runner-up would be Rangers Game 7.
Oh,
That was bad.
my wife and I had theater tickets that night.
Oh,
June 14th. Who knew the Rangers would be playing on June 14th of 1994?
how do you know all this stuff? Was Mike Richter in goal?
That name just popped into your head. How do you know this stuff? I think it was. And I was worried that they were going to like blurt out from the stage
What happened?
what happened. So I taped the game at home, and she went in the house first. And came out. Okay, it's over. It's over.
Oh my
Come in," and
God!
stuff
It
like
must be
that.
hard being married
That
to you, Steve.
Yeah, I guess.
Steve is, I don't know if he is, but Steve's wife is going to the TAG
Yeah, I'm
Awards.
going too.
You coming?
Are you going to be there?
I'm
Well,
hosting
it got
it.
moved to a Thursday.
Yeah, it got moved to a Thursday
My
night.
excuse was always it's on Sunday. I'm away from
Yeah.
football.
Well, what was my excuse?
Nothing.
Right, I always have to do it.
Okay.
Steve's going to be there at the thing, which will be really nice. We were talking about that earlier.
Are you broadcasting live from the event?
We are not broadcasting live for the event.
It's a nighttime.
It's a nighttime thing. I'm not sure
Show's
they.
always on in the daytime.
We're only on from 11 to 3. I can't. I don't know if I can.
11 to 3.
I don't know if I can handle Lance at night.
So,
It comes to
so
question.
you come on right when the Today Show goes up. Today Show's still 4 hours, right?
Correct.
Did you
And then-
sign a non-compete with them? Like you couldn't do the Jenna Wolf show against the Today Show?
No, because who in their right mind would think I would do something like this for 4 hours? So they couldn't possibly put that in a contract.
Is Kathy Lee and
Hoda,
still on the last hour?
they're on the
Do they have
last
the last
hour.
hour?
They do the 10 to 11 o'clock.
Who does the 9 to 10?
So that's a little bit of a hodgepodge right now with the whole Billy Bush fiasco. But it's a little bit of a little Cameron, a little Dylan, a little Carson, a little Al. Whoever's breathing at the time will come on and do that hour.
The first 2 hours are the regular
Those
cast.
are the regular cast of characters.
And where's Willie Geist?
Willie Geist left the weekday show. He does Morning Joe, and then he's got his own show on Sunday.
So do you watch Morning Joe?
Mm-hmm.
I usually watch.
Every single morning.
Yeah.
The entire political season. Every single
I
morning.
think it's a unique show on television because they invite people from all sides of the spectrum and they have a
Right.
discussion.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get too serious, but it gets serious enough.
It does. I like it too.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
A lot of big words I also learned from it. It was weird.
Were you ever on it when you worked there?
Yes, it was a disaster. The only time I was on it.
Really?
It was not good.
We're not going there?
I was in way over my head. It was like me doing the stretching when the Ranger game used to end early. We had to stretch to get to 11. They would put me on there. I
Right.
didn't even know what a blue line was, and they're like, "Jenna, just stretch." I'm like, "Well, I thought the Rangers. I thought they were going to win." What did you think? I mean, like, it was a disaster.
That is a stretch.
Yeah, it was a stretch. I did Morning Joe 2 or 3 times. That was it. Very early on, literally like 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Before Mika was on?
Mika was on. I replaced her one time. And then I replaced Willie like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We have on with Willie.
I was on once with
Because the two
Willie.
of you would do
We'd be great together. No one gave us a shot. We'd be really good
Yeah.
together.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah. I love that you recognize that.
You would?
Yeah. I'm trying to, I'm still, I will tell you this, I'm still thinking back to my favorite game, and I'm embarrassed that I don't really have a favorite game, even though I love watching sports so much. The first professional game I ever attended professionally, was a Rochester Amherst game in 1998. They were the Buffalo Sabres AHL team.
Right.
and I was in there. They were playing the Philadelphia Flyers AHL team, and they showed me up to the press box. And I'm like, oh, these are really lovely seats that we get. I didn't even know what I was doing there. I was waiting with the crowd. Like, my TV station went down there, and we all got moved, going this way, and we all go, and then I ended up sitting. I really didn't understand. I never asked, like, so what do I do in this game? I have to ask questions or something? Like, no idea. But a lot of times I'm better off just faking it than actually asking, because I'm a really good bullshitter. So I got there, and then I remember looking for my bag and the American anthem. What was it called? The
Star Spangled Banner.
that one starts playing.
And you were still sitting down? This wasn't a big deal at the time?
I didn't know. And I'm looking, and I look up, and everyone's standing like, oh, it's like, I guess we're standing up. I didn't even know. Stood up, and then I looked down on the ice, and like all the players were standing there with their hand over their hearts on the ice, facing each other the way they do in hockey and have done since the beginning of time. And I thought to myself, that is really nice that they look at each other, they like care about each other. I mean, this is early on. And then the music started playing, and the land of the free and the home of the brave, and all the ramparts, and all of it was happening, and like my heart swelled, and I was like, this is the start of what is going to be an amazing career. I love this. And then I remember making a little mistake afterwards. I went into the locker room to interview players. Lord knows what I was asking them. And they all kept saying, I don't know why they kept saying this. They were like, is this live? And I just kept saying, yes. I'm like, yes, this is live. Like, it wasn't live. There was a camera. We were in the locker room. There was nothing live about it. Is this live? Yes, this is live. And then I would ask them questions. And then next, are we on live? Yes, this is live. I don't remember why I did that. Told everybody, I don't even know.
Just like a little disinformation campaign?
I think I literally thought we were live.
You could have answered honestly. You just decided to
I think I was just wrong. Anyway, that was my first professional game.
Started with you not standing up to the national anthem.
Not on purpose. I was looking for something, probably lip.
Sure you weren't making a statement?
Oh, trust me.
Did you kneel?
No, but did you see Stephen A. Smith go off on Colin Kaepernick about the kneeling?
No.
You have to look it up. He went nuts. You know why? Because Kaepernick did not vote. Colin Kaepernick, who kneeled every game so far, which, right or wrong, he kneeled to make a statement, didn't even show up to vote.
He said that he didn't like both candidates.
I'm sorry. Like, if that's how you want to express yourself. Yeah, but you didn't take something that is so closely tied to the thing that you do for a living, which is like standing for the national anthem, for the people that went out and fought before you, like, who... That's why you do it. You show respect.
Well, he made his point. I thought he actually made a
Sorry,
point.
I'm
Like,
with you.
I think he actually probably drove some people to Trump.
Kaepernick did?
Yeah, because he came out against Clinton.
At what point did you watch the election night?
I watched the whole thing.
At what point?
No, I didn't. I watched till like 1 o'clock.
Yeah. At what point did you think Trump was going to win?
I thought no matter how late I stayed up and no matter how ahead he was and how close to 270 he got, somehow I was going to wake up in the morning and she was going to have won. I just couldn't.
It was a weird thing.
There's no way he was going to win Michigan. Like, I was like, well, no matter what, like, she'll win the whole country when she wins Michigan.
My son and his wife had come over to my apartment to watch the returns, and he was like fooling around on different websites and stuff. And he's in the middle, like around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. He said the New York Times is saying Trump has a 62% chance to win. There's some like dial on it, like a speed dial. It's pointing Trump 62. But maybe they have a meltdown.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, but when something we don't have shocking things that happen that much.
Not that is so highly polled and analyzed and predicted. You did it for shock value, and I know what you do. You take whatever I say and you say the opposite.
What's shock value?
What's shock value? Saying that
I
Trump
know
was
shock
going to
value.
win.
I thought he was going to win.
You wanted him to win, but you really thought he was going to
Who said
win?
I wanted him?
You did.
I said it would be a better narrative if he won, just because I thought it would be more interesting. But I thought that the country would. Everybody thought the country would fall apart if he won. I don't think the country's going to fall apart because he won. I also didn't think that he was hurting his brand. I thought that he was helping his brand because even if he gave up half the country and he got the other half of the country is still a pretty good brand for him. So
No, but it's rare. You know, take politics out of this. It's rare that you have anything in our society anymore that is so predicted, and then the opposite thing happens.
Okay, 1 second. John's not going to let me run the show anymore unless do you know Ray Diddinger?
Diddinger,
Philadelphia. Even
oh my God! Did you? That's crazy. I've never said that name before. How do I know this stuff? It's you.
It's a Philadelphia connection. What? I
don't even know who that is. And it's like, no, the pronunciation is Diddinger. His social security number is 128. But
no, he's a very well-known writer and NFL films producer from Philadelphia.
Why do you know him?
He was literally asked 100 times. Like, not 100 times, but he keeps going.
Okay.
It keeps going on and on.
Well, maybe
and on
Ray's watching. If you are, Ray, how are you?
So back to Trump.
Hey, Ray.
Back to Trump. Now we've solved.
Woo! Thank you.
But you're good on Philly. You knew Andy Reid, didn't you go out to?
I know Andy very well. I know Philly very well.
You know what team Andy Reid coaches now?
Kansas City.
And he's doing an unbelievably remarkable job. He took over a team that was 2-14.
Under who? I'm asking you. Under our Jets boy.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Why?
But no, because it's distracting from it. He took over a 2-14 team. And let's see, he's had it for 3 years, and this one's 3.5 years. I think that's something like 38-19.
Oh wow!
And I think they've won this year. I might be off by game here, but I think they've won 17 of their last 19 games.
But can I just say
they're
something?
in the most competitive division in football, and they're in first place with a 7-2 record.
Yeah, but it's not going to last because Alex Smith is like a fragile skeleton of himself. He said, "I'm sorry, I know you're a football guy. This guy's had more concussions. He's like a Cam Newton. Like he needs to. If I were him, I would. I know there's no way. This is never going to happen. Why am I even saying it? But he needs to sit out the rest of the season and get healthy again.
Yeah.
The guy is literally like a concussion away from, I think, from shutting it down.
Thank you,
I have a
Dr.
problem
Wolf.
with it. I look. And I like Alex Smith very much. I thought he got a bad rap under Colin Kaepernick, who is now not starting in San Francisco. He had to come to the Super Bowl with his tail between his legs and just sit there and watch. What? And now he's playing for an incredible coach in Andy Reid.
If you would like to hear Jenna talk more sports on this show,
it's crazy. I don't even know.
Just signal your appreciation for her.
You know what I never asked you?
What?
Who are your favorite teams growing up? Like, because you know so much about every team. Like, who are your teams?
Well, in New York, I grew up in New York, and a lot of it's based on geography, like what part of New York you grew up in. So I grew up closer to Queens, Shea Stadium.
You're a Met fan?
Yeah, Mets, Jets. The Jets played in Shea Stadium
Island?
at the time also. No, I liked the Islanders when they won their 4 championships in a row in the 80s. But I was too old school on the Rangers and Knicks, so I like the Garden teams. But the Mets were the team that I mean, I remember when they won the championship in '69.
Oh wow! Where were you in '86?
Where was I in '86?
Were you working?
I was working on Monday Night Football that night. So
Hold on
in '86, the Mets and Red Sox were in the Classic World Series.
Game 7, Giants game.
So Game 6 was the Buckner through the legs, the Mets win, and now the series is tied 3-3. They're going to force Game 7, which was going to be on a Sunday night. Monday Night Football was in New York that week, and I was working on the show then, as now. And so I thought, oh, great, I can go to Shea Stadium. How convenient. Rain out on Sunday night, and now not only is the game thrown up on Monday, but I wasn't able to watch it at all because I have to work at the Giants-Redskins game, which was a great game that year also. The Giants went on to win the Super Bowl at the end of that season.
Earlier, in the earlier episode, we talked about my Jenna let me tell a story, and the story was about how for Game 7, I called up my dad. I went to my boss and I was like, I have to take my dad. He's taking me to all these sporting events. I have to take my dad to the Game 7.
Right. When it was on Monday.
It was on Monday.
But
The lukewarm story
a
at best.
long one.
No, go on.
All right. Yeah. And
So, what were you saying?
Nothing. Go on.
What did you say?
I said it's a lukewarm story at best. Go on.
It's a lukewarm story.
No, I never said I got so excited about a story, but I've heard this one before, and I know it.
I did.
But he
Yeah.
did. Okay.
So does he say yeah? Take him.
So I was making $15,000. I spent $2,000 on 2 tickets. I got like seats right over the Red Sox dugout. I take my dad. I call up my dad and I'm like, Dad, great news! I just got tickets for the Mets game 7. It's like, I don't want to go. I'm going to the Giants game tonight.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
You paid $2,000 for these.
I went back to my boss and I like told him, asked him to sell the tickets. I told him the story. I asked him to sell the tickets back to the scalper. He's like, what happened? He tells me, I explained to him what happened. My boss ends up sending me with his brother. I didn't have to pay for the tickets. Like, he paid for the tickets. He's like, that is the worst story I've ever heard.
He said the same thing.
Wow.
But I think for different reasons. Like, he was saying it was like the saddest story, not the worst story.
You got to go to Game 7 for free with someone you never met before.
Yeah.
Right.
So I didn't even get to watch it on television.
Wow. But why? The Giants won that year. That's why it was such
Yeah,
a
it
big
was
game.
like the Giants hadn't won the Super Bowl ever.
But I'd worked on the American League playoffs coming into that when the Red Sox were losing to the Angels 3-1.
The Angels, right.
Yeah. The Angels had never been to the World Series, and their manager, Gene Long, who'd been in baseball like a quarter century, had never been to the World Series. And they were 1 out away in the 9th inning. And they were ahead 3 games to 1. And the Red Sox had to come back to get into the World Series. That was probably the greatest single game I ever worked on. It was just such a back and forth game, Angels, Red Sox. Although the Bucky Dent game might have been up there. The Norwood game. I've been around a while.
The Game 6 was probably one of the greatest games, the craziest game ever.
The Mets Red Sox. Yeah.
I mean, that guy probably still hasn't recovered.
The Mets were 2 outs, nobody on. Yeah, I saw Bill Buckner. I went out to
Does he
Chicago.
walk with his legs closed?
I went out to Chicago for the games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series this year. And on my flight out there, I saw a guy on the plane and said, that's Bill Buckner. But people were getting on too quickly, and I don't know Bill Buckner now. Probably wouldn't have said anything, but then when I'm looking for my seat at Wrigley Field, who do I pass in the stands?
Bill Buckner.
And he's sitting there, and it's definitely him. And you know, he's on the aisle. He had an aisle seat. He's a former Cub, so he had a connection with the Cubs. In fact,
Was he by himself?
no, he seemed like he was with family.
No. Did they look sad?
But you know, he was not heard from for a really long time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And after the Red Sox finally won the World Series, they had him back, I think, opening day of the following season throughout the first ball. And the crowd greeted him with love. And I was wondering if something like that could happen in Chicago with Bartman. I don't know.
But Bartman's different than a Scott Norwood or Bill Buckner.
Yeah, he's not a professional. He was a fan of the game. But it was nice.
Or
you know, when the fans of Fenway cheered Buckner after he got the first ball that year, there was a lot of love in it, and you kind of, it was almost like a well, not so much you're forgiven, but we feel bad that we don't like you.
Oh, that's neat.
You know what I mean? It was more of that, and I think in Chicago it would definitely be even more to a greater degree because this was not a professional athlete.
Right.
We could do what anybody would do if a ball was coming at you.
But those were also nice guys. Like, remember that Leon Lett game?
Yes.
Was that just like?
Well, there were a couple of Leon Lett games. He had a couple.
What was the one where let it be, Leon? Remember they were like, Leon, let it be.
Right.
Don't you remember that?
Okay, that was
Cowboy,
on Thanksgiving Day on an icy field.
Oh yeah, Steelers.
Yeah. But he, as long as he doesn't touch a ball that was a kick that was coming to rest, as long as he doesn't touch it, Cowboys can gain possession again. They already tried to get it. Hey, he made a mistake. You know?
I love sports.
And mistakes are good. Mistakes are good. I mean, sometimes they're so big, but in sports, I like to see a game with some mistakes now. I don't like to see perfection. I like to see guys miss an open three-pointer, or I like to see in football. I like to see some turnovers back and forth. You know, it makes the game more interesting.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, if you don't. Turnovers are usually because you made some sort of a risky play or tried to be excessively athletic or something and zig when you should have zagged. It's not a bad thing. You know, people like to see it before.
Right.
Pregnant pause.
Seinfeld. John, where's your Seinfeld question? What's that?
Like
It's 2:57. We spoke for a full hour.
Really?
Doesn't it go
I was
quickly
4
when you're
minutes
with
late.
me?
I was 4 minutes late.
So you really only talking.
You take your hat off.
I can't take it off.
You must be sweating bullets.
No, I'll take it off, but not on camera, and then I'll put it in a ponytail, and then I'll come back on camera. In 2 minutes, we'll be off. So do I have to stop and do a closing segment?
You just want to finish here?
I can just finish here.
All right.
Did you have fun?
Sure. That was it.
We run the gamut on topics.
Yeah. So you're going to see it on Thursday night at this fundraiser.
I'll be there.
Are you the MC?
I am. I have to race home now and write it.
Some jokes? Are you going to be funny?
I'm always funny. I've run out of jokes. This is my 9th year doing this. I'm co-hosting it with a comedian, Bruce Valanche.
Oh, well, he's professional funny.
Right. I'm not professional funny, but I'm professional event hoster.
Okay.
So he's not professional event hoster. He's professional funny. So between the two of us,
Are they going to be good hors d'oeuvres?
there are usually not enough hors d'oeuvres. Is the problem?
She gave a scouting report.
Yeah, there's never enough hors d'oeuvres.
Food never comes around. It's good, but you never get it.
You really got to elbow your way in there to get to the guys. And then when you see them walking, you don't want to be like, I guess I'll have one, because there's no easy
So
calm way
this
of
is a
doing it.
real scouting report that gets around.
I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Well, you're in a position to say something.
More food, please.
Or get faster waiters or something.
I know, something. Yeah, put sneakers on and really make the most out of it. Well, I really appreciate you coming. We always have a ton to talk about. I didn't know you were such a diehard Mets fan. I love that I know something new about you. Next time, we're definitely going to dive a little more into Seinfeld trivia. Every day we have a guy that asks us questions.
Okay.
And, I mean, what can I say? I adore you. You're like my favorite person.
I don't know if I got back in first place past the meteorologist.
We're going to find out once we tally up the numbers.
She had a significant lead on me. Maybe if you accumulate my totals, my different appearances, I can...
Only a true statistician would talk about accumulating his totals so that he can get back. Listen, why don't you use your knowledge for something good and try to get us into first place?
Yes, I'll try to do that.
Thanks so much, guys. Lance is hit or miss for tomorrow, but we are going to talk about it.
Figure it out.
All right. Hopefully he's hit. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks. Bye.
See you.